useContext is one of the most important hook in React. In this video, we're gonna learn in the simplest way possible. There are 5 components and each components need this toolbox. But there is a catch. Components can't access the toolbox directly. It only can access the toolbox from another component. There are only two possible ways. Either I assign the toolbox to any component and other components will access it from its neighbor components. Like if I give it to components 1 and components 5 needs it, so now components 1 have to hand over to component 2 and 2 gonna hand over to component 3 and so on. But there is another pretty advanced option called useContext. useContext create a common component and assign the toolbox to the provider component, so all the components access the toolbox directly from it. Now let's see in reality how it works. I will highly suggest to open your code editor and go along with me. That's how you will learn faster. Here's my Visual Studio. I just created two components. One is counter and another is counter show. And I wrap those components into app.jsx. In this counter.jsx, I just have a button saying click me and it does nothing. And in counter show.jsx, there's a h4 tag and just saying the number is. So here I'm gonna create a number context and assign the value of counter component to the context and make it access from global. Simply I just want to pass the incremental value from counter component to counter show component. First of all, we're gonna create a folder called context and make a file called numberContext.js. Then we're gonna import the create context from React and assign the number context to create context. Number context is just a variable. You can add whatever you want, and this number context.js is just like creating the box where we're gonna put our tools. Second file, we're gonna create the number provider.jsx. Here we're gonna just put our context value to the number context. So just import number context first. Now just type number context.provider and you have to assign a value here and make sure to add those children. It's just a boilerplate code and I will suggest to just memorize it and you will use it. We're gonna import the use state from React and then we're gonna just create a simple state and a setter function and assign the value to here. And our main focus is to increment the number whenever you click the button in counter.jsx. Now let's back to counter.jsx. We're gonna import two things first. The one is number context and the second one is use context. However, use context is to use the context we already created. Like we created the number context and we wanna use the number context using the use context. Now I just accessing the number and the setter function from the previous context. I changed the button text and assigned number variable so just I can visualize when number changes. Now we have to just make a on-click function to actually change the number, and in this case we just want to increment the number. Now let's back to app.jsx and import the number provider. Always remember the provide component has to be in the top. It means it has to wrap every children component and the nested component. Our number is incrementing right now and it's working. Let's back to counter show.jsx and here we're gonna again import the use context to use the context and show the number what it is. We're gonna again access the value with number and setter number function like before. Now I just can easily place the variable saying number and it just showing the number. If you learn anything new, consider to subscribe. Thanks.